This video is going to go through the removal of the Centurion Maximus Tower Downfire Speaker System. The plan is to replace these with REV10s from Wet Sounds, and just right off the bat here you can see you've got 4 Allen bolts that have to be removed to get the pod off, and then the wiring inside, we're going to get to that. And then also probably have to disassemble the centerpiece of the tower here to get to all the wiring and then feed the wiring through the tower. So one of the concerns that you probably are going to have is trying to preserve as much of the wiring as you can and plan ahead with routing the wire down the tube into the area that you're going to connect your REV10 or whatever other tower speaker you put in. In my case, I'm going to try and mount the REV10 out as far as possible. One of my main complaints with the Downfire is I hit my head on these all the time. So there is an option to mount the REV10s. If you're doing 4 of them, you can put them on this with an adapter in the original location where you have the wires already set up, which is nice. In my case, I'm just going to run a pair of REV10s out here away from my head and the step through. But anyway, these 4 or 6 wires you've got right here. So when you first start pulling this wire out, it's gonna get tight right about here. But then if you try to pull one at a time, you're going to start seeing these connectors come out. You have to be real careful so you don't pull them apart. But if you do it real carefully, one wire at a time, just kind of fish it out of the hole there, and then these connectors will pop out, and you've got a lot more wire to play with, and you're going to have to cut them, obviously. Over here on this side, you have some leeway, but they're going to tee and come over here. So the lighting actually comes up here on the starboard side of the tower. All the speaker wires come up the port side of the tower and then branch off and go over here. Okay, so here on the port side, we can also see that we've got the same coloring. White, pair of whites, pair of greens, and then the blue and black, which are your lights. Same thing over here going in, but the feed is actually a pair of purples and a pair of grays. So this is going to be your starboard side feed. This is going to be your port side feed. But just remember that the lights is this blue and black pair. I'm gonna try to figure out which one of these pairs goes to the interior for the Downfire, so that I know what not to what to cap, and then I'll know what pair to send to the Wet Sounds REV10s. All right, so your towers, not the facing down, but the towers are going to be on the starboard right side, the purple lead. So if you're getting rid of the Downfires, you're going to cap the white, which is the gray. You'll notice the colored pairs here going into the Downfire housings are the same on both sides. So you've got green for the towers, green for the tower, and white for the Downfire, which is tied to your interior. Speakers are disconnected, and really all I labeled was the interior for the Downfire, because obviously everything else is going to be rear tower speaker and then the LED lights. Same thing over here, labeled the interior downfire, and then same thing. So next we'll just disconnect here and remove the downfires. It's a 5/16 Allen key. It's useful if you have somebody else on the other side holding while you undo the Allen bolts, but you can put your legs under here and support them and do it yourself. Leave one, I'd say, at the top, kind of tight to make sure it doesn't start tipping over and falling out.